Some happen on campus, some in bars, parties, or other normal student spaces. College can be fun, yes, but it can also be dangerous in ways you'd never imagine. My name is Chuck. I graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, in 2016. Today, life is great. I'm engaged to Rosie, the love of my life, whom I met at Berkeley. I have a solid career and still talk to my frat brothers. But back then, my first year at Berkeley felt like a nightmare. I'd been swept into a frenzy of build your future now culture. LinkedIn profiles. Perfect résumé. 30-year plans at age 18. It was exhausting, but I played the game. I checked all the boxes, looking for internships. Then one day, my inbox pinged. A prestigious business firm had reached out directly to me. Not a bot, not spam. A real message. I read it 6 times, my heart pounding before replying. Within a day, I'd been invited to a first-round interview. My interviewer, a man named Armin Slawinski. I'll never forget that name. I tried to research him on LinkedIn. Nothing. No trace. No social footprint. Weird, but maybe he was private. He gave me an address, a coffee shop in Oakland. Not in Berkeley, where we had dozens of cafes perfect for interviews. Odd. The night before, I told my friend Riley about it. That's sketchy, he said. Do you even know who this guy is? I didn't. But it was a big opportunity. Riley offered to drive me, and I accepted. That decision may have saved my life. The next afternoon, my stomach in knots, I got in Riley's car. 20 minutes later, we pulled up. I didn't want to look like the kid who brought a friend, so I told him to drop me off and wait somewhere else. He smirked, pulled out a bag of weed, and said he'd hang out. I thanked him, got out, and walked toward the location. Then I stopped dead. The coffee shop wasn't there. In its place, a construction site, empty buildings, closed gates, demolition debris. Google Maps still showed the cafe, but reality didn't. I pulled out my phone to call Riley, but before I could, a deep voice boomed behind me. Chuck. I spun around. There stood an absurdly tall man in a black suit next to a matte black Bentley. He looked powerful, expensive, out of place. Relief flooded me. Maybe this was just a mix-up. We shook hands. He furrowed his brow at the construction site. You know what? He said. Let's find someplace else. Get in. He pointed to the car. Shotgun's all yours. I walked around the Bentley, adrenaline buzzing. Just before opening the door, I peeked inside. What I saw in the back seat froze my blood. Inside the Bentley's shadowed back seat, I saw him, a man lying flat on the floor. He wasn't sleeping, he was clutching something long and metallic. My stomach dropped. My brain screamed, trap! I spun away from the car, heart pounding. Behind me, the tall man's deep voice echoed again. Chuck. I didn't look back. I ran. The sound of my own blood roared in my ears as my shoes slapped the pavement. I heard it then, screeching tires. I risked a glance over my shoulder. The matte black Bentley had swung around, its nose aimed straight at me. There was no way I could outrun a car. The street around me was a maze of empty blocks, no open space. Only shadows, dead ends, and my hammering heart. I hit the next intersection. Left or right? Logic said left. My feet went right. I sprinted down the street. 10 seconds. Maybe 20. That was all I had before the Bentley caught up. Then a miracle. One of the buildings ahead had a fire escape ladder just low enough to reach. I jumped. My hands clamped the cold metal. I had never done a pull-up in my life, but survival rewired my body. Muscles screamed as I hauled myself upward. The Bentley's engine growled, echoing off the walls as it whipped around the corner. I climbed, rung after rung, my heart beating out a countdown. The Bentley stopped directly below me. I couldn't see the driver, but I could feel him watching. If they came out, I'd have to fight. If they climbed after me, I didn't even want to think about it. The car idled. Seconds dragged like hours. Then it revved, turned left, and disappeared. I stayed there, clinging to the ladder, gasping for air, unable to move. My phone trembled in my hand as I called Riley, shouting into the receiver what had happened. He found me still perched on the fire escape. I climbed down, legs shaking, and got into his car. We drove off without a word. After that day, I buried the memory. Didn't talk about it, not even with Riley. Pretended it had never happened. But at night, when the world is quiet and my phone screen glows in the dark, I still see that matte black Bentley. I still hear my name echoing behind me, and I still wonder what would have happened if I had opened that door. This story isn't from years ago. It's happening right now. I'm a first-year college student. A few months ago, my family drove me to campus to help me move into my dorm. Everything seemed normal until I found out about my living situation. I was placed in a Jack and Jill dorm, meaning I'd share a bathroom with another room. 3 other guys total. I already knew one from orientation. His roommate didn't matter for this story. It's my own roommate who matters. His name is Diora. Before moving in, I got his socials, tried talking to him on Instagram. His replies were dry. His page looked like one of those Discord mod memes you see on TikTok. When I met him in person, he looked exactly like his profile. Pale, skinny, a peach fuzz mustache, and an energy I can only describe as off. I tried to start conversations. He stuttered, cut things short, and said bizarre stuff. When I asked what music he liked, he told me, music wouldn't fill my cup of emptiness. Then came his gaming habits. He set up his PS5 immediately, but it wasn't the gaming itself that creeped me out. It was what he did while gaming. Weird grunts, violent body shakes, whispering to himself, repeating phrases twice in a giggly tone. Sometimes he'd put his feet inside his desk cabinet and pull them to his chest as he trembled. And he never left. No homework, no classes. Just there, all day. Every day I tried to ignore it. But then came the first incident. It was the end of my first week. I'd gone out with new friends and came back late around 1 a.m. Diora looked asleep in his bed. I turned to my cabinet right next to mine. When every hair on my arm stood up, something told me to turn around. I did. Diora was staring at me, wide-eyed, grinning. Holy Diora, why are you looking at me like that? I yelped. He laughed. Dark time, he said, then rolled over to face the wall. It didn't just happen once. It happened 3 more times. I tried to move out. The housing was full. I tried switching to the other room. The other guy wouldn't leave. I was stuck. 3 months passed. I came back from English class one day late as usual, but Diora panicked when he saw me. Why are you back so early? He blurted, weird since my class ended late. I asked if he needed the room. He struck a strange anime-like pose and said, You shouldn't be worried at all. I noticed a box on his desk. When I asked about it, he brushed it off. That's when I realized my iPhone charger and scissors were missing. I asked if he'd seen them. He handed me the scissors. But as he reached for my charger, the cable snagged the box and tipped it over. It spilled open, and what fell out made my heart sink. Time. Slowed as the box hit the floor. A sticky note fluttered out first. It had my name on it. Then the rest spilled. Across the carpet like evidence from a nightmare, a clear case containing eyelashes, a pair of glasses, one of my socks, and a disposable photo of me I'd taken as a joke. I froze. My stomach flipped. My roommate, this pale, trembling guy who whispered to himself, had been collecting pieces of me. He scrambled to scoop everything up, mumbling excuses I couldn't even hear over the blood rushing in my ears. I shouted at him to get out. He bolted. I texted my RA immediately. He said he was out but told me to save the box as evidence. Tomorrow, he said, we'll confront him. We'll get him out. I hid the box deep inside my laundry bin, but the feeling wouldn't leave me. My skin crawled. My mind replayed the contents of that box over and over, the eyelashes, the socks, the photo with my name. An hour later, Diora came back. I told him to stay on his side. No talking, no movement. I tried to stay awake, terrified he'd try to find the box. But exhaustion won. I fell asleep around 2 a.m. When I woke up, he was gone. Relief. Then panic. I lunged for my laundry bin. The box was gone. My heart dropped. The RA came by later. I told him everything, but without the box, there was no proof. Nothing they could do but monitor the situation. 5 hours later, Diora returned. I confronted him. Where's the box? What box? He said, blank-faced. I don't know what you're talking about. I pressed harder. He just kept denying over and over like he was enjoying my panic. Now it's the 2nd semester. I'm still stuck dorming with him. He promised me he'd never do it again. He even said if he did, he'd let me know, so we could move out immediately, like that makes it okay. I avoid the room as much as possible. I don't sleep easily. I don't concentrate. Because my mind keeps circling back to the same questions. Why did he steal my photo? Why my socks? What were those glasses? Whose eyelashes were they? And why most of all did he label the box with my name? This isn't some old urban legend. This happened to me and I still think about it every Halloween. Back in 2019, during my freshman year, my college went insane for Halloween week. Big Ten school, huge football win, wild costume parties every night, frats, bars, booze, police, chaos. On the Saturday after the big game, my friends and I were headed to a fraternity off campus to celebrate. We knew about it because my friend Alexandra was dating one of the players. We got there around 11 p.m. and the place was already a madhouse of music blasting. People chanting. Everyone downing shots. I was having a blast, dancing, drinking, laughing. But one small detail would change everything. My phone had died. I gave it to Alexandro to keep in her purse. Later, I told my friends, "I'm running to the bathroom. Wait for me by the DJ booth." I never saw them again that night. While I was in the bathroom, I heard someone scream, "Cops!" at the top of his lungs. Panic erupted. People bolted for the doors. Lights flashed red and blue outside as multiple cop cars rolled up. I sprinted out of the frat house, but the crowd was chaotic. Some cops were talking to frat brothers. Others were chasing underage kids. I yelled for my friends but couldn't find them. No phone. No map. Freezing night. Off-campus neighborhood. I decided to head back to my dorm alone. It was only October, but the temperature was brutal, around 37 degrees. I was tipsy but aware enough to know I was far from home. My body was numb, my mind racing. After walking for a while, I spotted a building. It looked like one of the academic halls I'd heard about but never been inside. Perfect. A place to warm up, sober up, and figure out where I was. I pushed the door open. The building was dark except for the glow of exit signs. Warm air wrapped around me. My breath slowed. My heart began to settle. Then I realized something was wrong. This wasn't an academic building, it was a warehouse. The warmth of the building faded the second I realized where I was. Not an academic hall. A warehouse, concrete floors, bare walls, dim red exit signs casting a sickly glow. I turned back to the door I came in from. It was locked. How? I'd just opened it. My stomach dropped. Trying to keep calm, I spotted another door under an exit sign. Maybe it led outside. I pushed it open and stepped into an even smaller room. Low red light. Steam hissing from unseen pipes. Chains hanging from the ceiling. A low mechanical buzz filled the air. It looked like a set from a horror movie. But it wasn't a movie. It was real. I spun to go back out. That door was locked. Too. Panic rose in my chest like a tide. I slid down the wall, silent tears streaming down my face, trying not to make a sound. That's when I heard it. A door slamming shut. Footsteps. Heavy footsteps. Another door. More footsteps. Closer. My heart thudded so hard I thought whoever it was would hear it. I glanced at a door near me, opened it as quietly as possible and slipped through. Chains clinked overhead. Steam brushed against my skin. Behind me, the door from the previous room opened. The footsteps were in the same room now. Big, heavy, deliberate. My fight or flight exploded. I stumbled toward a window, the only exit I could see. With everything I had, I kicked. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 5th kick, the glass shattered. The footsteps broke into a run. I had maybe 10 seconds. I threw myself through the window, not realizing there was a drop on the other side. I fell 10 feet, landing hard on 2 recycling bins. Pain shot through me, but I was alive. I looked up at the broken window. No one there. I scrambled under some pine trees nearby, crouched low in the shadows. My breath shook. My hands trembled. Then I saw it, a figure at the window scanning the area, looking for me. My whole body went numb. As silently as I could, I crept across the street, then ran. Ran like my life depended on it. I didn't stop until familiar campus buildings appeared. When I finally reached my dorm, my friends were outside, panicking. They told me I'd been gone for almost 4 hours. The next day, I told them everything. Their jaws dropped. Later, we found out that the building hadn't been used in years. Whoever was in there wasn't a cop. It wasn't security. Just someone. Someone after me. And even now, years later, when Halloween comes around, I still see that warehouse, still hear those footsteps. I still wonder what would have happened if I hadn't moved fast enough.